New patch notes incoming from the Pre-Patch Podcast. Make sure to check them out. I really hope that you guys have some opinions on this.
I do.
This fucking game, dude. This game is
It's gonna be the
Deadlock.
next big thing when it comes
The
out,
fuck it is.
according
So,
to washed up shooter guy.
how many of you guys have actually played? I know
So
Enigma.
I played.
You so okay.
I
Sorry, you
wanted
played
to,
Enigma.
man, but after watching
played
the
it.
fiasco that was you playing it the other night, I was like, nah, I'm good, bro.
You said you
I've
did play
played
it.
Pass.
You did,
Yeah, I
Tony.
played
Okay.
it as well. Yes.
Bill, have you?
I've played one match.
Okay. What do you guys think about this fucking game?
It's not my cup of tea.
So it being a MOBA, it's kind of it's not Smite, but I like games like Smite. I like MOBAs. I like the game. However, I was so confused when I first started. I didn't
Maybe
really.
that was the thing with me.
Yeah,
I had no
it
clue
was
what the
a-
hell was going on.
There's a lot of elements to this game that I didn't know were elements until I started. It's a mix of third-person Smite and a mix of League, because like I didn't know. Okay, well, if you don't get the last hit on these enemies, you're not getting the goal or experience or whatever. Like
Yeah, or you
that's
gotta
a
shoot
League,
you got to shoot the souls in this one,
right?
And then enemies can deny the souls.
It was
that's
just
Zelda.
so much to throw at you at the very beginning. For me personally,
Yeah.
that's just for me. But I can't speak for everyone that plays this, like, because that has a League aspect to it. In Smite, you don't have
Right.
to get the last
Right.
hit. You could just you kill a
I mean,
minion,
a lot
you
of
get the
MOBAs
goal.
do have a big learning curve.
Right.
Yeah.
That comes with the genre. I agree with you though. I mean, this one specifically, there is a lot going on, and I don't think that's great. I also I kind of get the feel that they're trying to do a lot, and being in like that early build, they're hopefully gonna flesh it out and or tone it down.
I'm sure they will.
Yeah,
Well, so-
because like there's
so
a
let's-
lot going on in the map itself, with being like teleporters, little nooks and crannies you can go. The map is like totally diversible, and like you can explore everything. There's like the rail system. And there's a lot just
So,
going
but-
on in the ground gameplay.
So before we get too far into this, let's just preface this with this game was in closed alpha, right?
Mhm.
Quote unquote closed alpha. Right? Granted, it was easy to get into it. You had people could invite you into it just
Right.
freely off of you had a friend and he just passed it out. That's what I did with a lot of my friends, was I just passed it off to everybody, right?
Yeah.
So calling it a closed alpha is a little janky in my opinion.
It's an alpha. Whether it be closed,
well, it
they
was
just
a closed alpha, yeah.
no. I'm just saying. I know.
After the
Alpha-
whole situation with the closed alpha coming out,
Yeah.
it got kind of leaked and they had like 80,000 players on it, and so Valve was just like,
Yeah.
well, everybody knows about it now, so let's just open it so that everybody can
I
play
still
it.
stand by. I think that was all just marketing tactics. I don't think it was ever, and I know again,
Probably.
I don't think it was ever meant to be a closed alpha. I think they're like, we're gonna make it a closed alpha and let people leak it so that it'll hype up the game.
They
That's
shouldn't
always been
have.
my idea.
They
Maybe
absolutely
not.
should not have done that.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
This-
either way though, I mean, the game's got a huge player base right now, and I think
really
that
does.
also stems from
It
like
really
the
does.
oh, dude, you can invite me and I can invite him, and
Well-
and this mentality that you're in something exclusive. Really, like
I think
what I mean-
it also has a
ahead.
lot to do with Shroud. Obviously, we don't have to cover it up.
Yeah,
Shroud is the one that came out with it, and like it was doing really well even before Shroud said that.
yeah,
But like
it jumped up a big hike.
The day that Shroud said that, like I shit you not, I was in a call with Sin right here, right? The day that he said that, I was looking at my YouTube feed, and within like 6 hours of him saying that, I had like 18 fucking videos that are like, this is the next best game in the world. This is the
Yeah.
next best fucking MOBA in the world.
Shroud said,
Fucking Shroud
you know?
says this game will be the next best thing in the world. I was like, what? Come on, man.
Yeah. So and I sent you guys that tweet as soon as it came out too, and I was like,
Yeah.
So like, yeah, I think he's overhyping it 100%.
100%. Yeah.
100%. He's overhyping it. It's so early to tell. Me,
Which is
personally,
weird.
I think it's got
like I don't know why he's overhyping it. Like I can't see.
I
him
don't
being
either,
like, this game is
considering
amazing.
He's got his own
Shroud
game.
hates every game that he plays. He plays a game for 2
He does have
hours,
his own
says
game
it's
too.
the
It's
shittiest
funny.
game ever, and then moves on.
He
Well,
does
he's
do
got
that a lot.
he's got his own fucking game literally dropping in
His
a
own
couple days, and
FPS.
he is putting more. It's his own FPS, and he's putting more with Spectre Divide. He's putting more time into this than what he is there. And like, look, if you like the game, you like the game. I'm not going to sit
Right.
here and be like, hey, you don't like the game, whatever
Is
else.
what it
But
is.
to sit to go, like, my gripe with this, and as someone that has dumped over, I think I've got like close to 3,000 or no, I've got close to 1,200 hours in Dota 2. I've got fucking God knows how much time in League. Like, I am a MOBA person. Like, I've played Smite, I played Predecessor, I played all those, right? Coming into this, like, it doesn't feel good. Like, the shooting doesn't feel impactful. One, I don't think that a shooting MOBA makes sense, personally. And if it does, you have to do it extremely well because there is so much going on. Like, on your screen, there is, I've got to shoot this thing. I got to, like, denying creeps. I like that idea. It's in Dota. I'm used to it. I understand it. Like, there's a lot, but you've got guys flying in this way. I then have to worry about shooting this person, maneuverability, my skills, I then have to learn about headshots. I have to make sure I'm aiming properly. I've got to, certain guns have different reload systems. Like, it's too fucking much.
So from what I understood when I first played this, like I really I like the rail system, but it also is different. It's different. There's like to your point, Sin, there is a lot going on in this game. I agree
Ton,
100%. When I first started, I was just like, okay. And as I'm playing the shooting and everything, I was like, all right, cool. Until multiple people come together in one area, and it's just pure fucking
It's
chaos.
chaos.
Yeah,
As you
it
just
is.
don't know what's happening, and you're
Yeah.
like, okay, what did I die to? I'm
It's
just like,
definitely a
oh,
lot more than Smite, and
it
I'll
really is.
compare heavily
Is
to
it more
Smite
than
because
Smite?
Oh yes.
In
I-
y'all's opinion, like, because I
So-
can think the first time I jumped into Smite or the first time I jumped into League, I had that same mindset of I don't know what the fuck's happening. There's a ton of stuff going on my screen, and
Fair
I
enough.
just don't
some
get it.
some of the part I feel like that comes down to is, like I said, they are pushing a lot into it right now, and not everybody's character, like all the characters are still subject to change. And I've even seen like mechanics and whatnot, like combined character mechanics that have been stated like is not an implemented feature and like are being abused right now. So there is a
Then
lot that is
don't bring it
Is this
out in
inside
a
of the building like a jungle?
in
but
a
this is actually this
yeah.
is
And
alpha.
well,
I get it's an
It
alpha,
is-
but don't
was
bring it to
that
the
was
point
my
that
was
we're
my
able to
argument.
play
It's like it
or
was an
here.
alpha. Like it was an alpha. I get what you're saying is that like it shouldn't have been in that state to begin with the alpha, like but this was an early closed
and
alpha.
I'm
It was
cool-
closed
I'm
originally.
cool with it being an alpha. I'm cool with things not being like polished or that it doesn't whatever. What I have a problem with, and I said this last night on my show or on my stream, is that when you bring the game out and you then open it to the public, you are opening yourselves up to more scrutiny and also a level that is like, hey, some of this should be a little bit more kind of put together. And like, I feel like, you know, going and saying, hey, not just the public to play it, but the public to view it, right? Like, sure, I think keep it in a closed alpha. Don't let people talk about it. Fucking work on your shit or whatever else. But like, after playing this, a couple matches of it, I don't want to go back to it. Like, I have no desire to go anywhere close to this game. And to your point, Bill, that you were talking about, like, hey, is it a lot like comparable to Smite or comparable to those? Like, there are still things that are basic in almost all MOBAs that this game, because it is a shooter, because they are changing so much, you don't, that's gone. Like, that level of like understanding is gone and it doesn't exist here. Whereas in like in Smite, I know, hey, this dude's got a big fucking sword. He's a melee character. It's also like I talked about this too, like your planes, right? So Smite, League are all on a singular plane, though one is over the shoulder and one is top down. You're still on a singular flat plane. When you go into a jungle, I can see what's in the jungle. I can see what's coming out of the jungle. It's that, right? In here, they added verticality. They added, you know, fucking going under buildings, in buildings. I now have to be like, hey, I got to look up here. I got to look down here. I got to look in different directions. Like their shop systems, like all of this just junk that they just kind of like vomit onto your screen. It's like in the tutorial, it doesn't do enough. I don't know, man. It just doesn't feel good.
I agree with
get
you
what
there,
you're
man.
saying.
Yeah.
But I'm also of the mindset of it's alpha, it's free. And
Right.
also, do we really
Same.
want the same MOBA rehashed over and over? Like, I understand that you want some basis of familiarity to like get things going on, but I'm okay with a game taking risks in this kind of capacity. I think the first person shoot or the third person shooter mixed with MOBA is an interesting concept. Are they executing it perfectly right now? No. I'm chalking that up to alpha. I'm going to keep my eye on it. And I do have the interest of coming back to it because I think there is a decent premise there. I only played one match of it because it's something that I think I would much rather play with other people. So that's the only reason I haven't played more of
Yeah.
it.
Sure.
But
That was
Yeah.
my biggest issue. Is like I wanted to play with other people, but then again, like watching Sin play the other night, I was just like, I'm good.
It's
I'll just pass.
that's where my head's
I
at
will-
on
I
it. At
will
least
agree.
I'm happy with some risks being taken,
I will agree. Yeah, I think risk needs to be taken on that. But like I also
but they need to
mentioned
execute it well.
before, I think that you like, and look, if this is also a problem that Valve has, and I've said this multiple times, that Valve has got a real bad habit of bringing shit out and then not supporting it, and dropping it. They did it with Artifact. They did it with their auto battler. They've done it with a lot of different games where they're kind of like, oh, hey, you know, Hearthstone's doing really well. Let's come out with our own like card game. And then it's over complicated. It's convoluted. It's trash. They throw it out there. It dies. You look at like CS2, right? And what they're doing with Counter-Strike Global Offensive 2 or whatever the fuck that's called. Same thing. Like nobody really wanted it. Nobody asked for it necessarily like that. But then the stuff that we did get, it's not implemented well and it's really hurt the game. I think that this is a situation where, hey, you can absolutely do a third person shooter MOBA, you can, but why not like ease us into this and be like, hey, we're gonna give you, you know, 9 or 5 heroes or 7 heroes or whatever you need, right? We're gonna only give you a couple of different items and ease you into learning what this is versus being like, hey, we're expecting you to fucking know all this shit. Here you go. Have fun. Right. And that's not a fun thing to do. If I'm not Shroud where I can just, my whole entire job is to dump nothing but time in it. And I've only got a few hours of the day to spend on doing something, learning this versus being like, fuck it, I'm going to go play Smite. I would much rather go play Smite. Like,
I think they're hitting the golden hour with this though, because a lot of people in the Smite community are looking for something else to play because they're not real happy with Smite 2.
So yeah, we're not getting on Smite 2, but I'm an avid Smite player in here, and it's not where it needs to be yet. My issue with this game, this particular game, is just the fact that when it comes to like shooters, especially on PC, I'm wondering the longevity of this game when it comes to it's an alpha, but I'm wondering of the longevity of the game just in terms of like cheating when it comes to like shooter. We all know it happens.
Oh yeah,
But
yeah.
MOBAs, it's more difficult to cheat in MOBAs because it's not a shooter. You get what I'm saying? Like this is, I could
There's
see
more
where the
planes for
problem.
cheating, whereas
There you go.
MOBAs you can just have like, okay, I can see in Fog of War and stuff like that, or I can.
So you understand exactly
Yeah.
where I'm
There
coming
definitely
from.
will
This
be
is gonna
a
be
cheating
little
problem in
different.
this game, 100%.
Yeah, I can see it.
Because it's Valve. I mean, they already have a hard time dealing with cheaters in CS2. Like, that's a big problem.
What do you-
So
what do you guys think about the
Real-
look? Sorry, go ahead.
So I was about to say really quickly, just to address, we've got some people in chat that are talking about it. Just to address some of the stuff in the chat, like usually, yes, they're saying so it's adding complexity to the genre. Not sure if it'll pay off, but it's a fair attempt. And isn't this sort of thing usually applauded? It is, and we're not saying that like complexity and all that stuff should not be added to a genre, right? The problem with this is that this is complex for complex for the sake of complexity
right.
for no
Yeah.
reason. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no reason for some of the complexity that's been added into this. Like we don't need you to reinvent the wheel, right? Like
Yeah.
the complexity of this game is almost too complex for an alpha, right? Like there's too much in an alpha version of the game. If they wanted this much complexity, it should have been added in, you know, step by step, right?
Yeah, I
that's
agree with
that's what we're complaining about.
Yeah.
Is like it just feels like it was shove as much shit into the game as possible and hope that it sticks, essentially. So
that's what I feel like.
That's
It's like
what
they're
we're issue- that's
trying
what our issue.
to do a lot right now in that test phase where they are testing everything out, but it's doing it all at once, and it's like, well, it's a bit much. I just hope they take from it and tone it down a bit, because there is some really cool aspects to it that I do enjoy. You know, I mean, I actually do like the rail system and everything. It has a nice like unique dynamic. You can jump from rail to rail in some areas.
It's different.
It's
I enjoy
rotating. That. Yeah, it's cool, but
we talked about.
Like, kind of crazy for me.
Well, we talked about the complexity of the map, like the verticality and everything of the map, and I think that that's something that they could have leaned a little bit further into if they had just done it better, right? I feel like it's very half-assed as it is.
Well, you can definitely tell the map is very, very early access still.
Yeah,
I guarantee you it's still a lot of areas as placeholder. There's a lot of broken textures, a lot of zones that just like
I bet you that map doesn't change much, man. I bet you that map stays the same for a long time.
I just hope they lose some of like the verticality to it, like not go all the way on top of buildings. Because I was literally like playing that one huntress chick with the sniper, jumping all the way up on top of buildings and sniping down on people. And like that's cool, but like you can do that with other characters and just like you don't know where you're being shot and killed from. It's kind of nuts.
Yeah. The last thing I'll say
hopefully that. Sorry, I was just gonna say. Hopefully that kind of explains our mindset on that.
The last thing that I'll say about it, and then I'm good to kind of move on, is that one day, and we touched on Shroud, but this is where I think like the game is getting more praise than what I think it justfully deserves, and not getting some criticism, is because that on one day the game was not doing well and people were not happy with it, and I was seeing it all over the place. Like, again, I have the benefit of like my job and what it gives me insight into. Like, so I was seeing all of the downturn of Deadlock, basically being like, this is DOA. And then in one single foul swoop, one post, one comment, one thing by one person, all of a sudden it's just like full 180, boom. Now everybody is like, oh my God, it's the best fucking game. And I'm putting 500 hours into this and I love this fucking game. And it's like
power influence,
what
baby.
the fuck, man? Yeah. Like, and it's just like,
that's the question that I have is like again, we talked about it when we were fucking talking about Shroud. It's like, it's almost like and I don't want to say that he got paid off, but it feels like he got paid off, right? It very much so feels like there was some kind of
he's taking Valve money to make his own game.
He could have.
I mean, maybe, man. Maybe.
They may have contacted him and been like, you know what? How about you promo those a little bit?
More power to him, man. Yeah. But yeah, no, I kind of agree with you. It's very strange that it went from being like not really talked about favorably to being like the next best thing since sliced bread, and I don't know. It's very strange.
I mean, ultimately, I think I'll revisit it. I think the game's got some bones to it. It's just they need to take some feedback like seriously.
Hey, I hope you guys enjoyed the patch notes. And if you want to join us live, we stream every single Thursday at 10:30 p.m. Eastern here on YouTube as well as on Twitch. Also, if you miss a show, you can always catch us at anchor.fm/pre-patch podcast or wherever you listen to your podcast. Thank you, and I hope you enjoyed the show.